Hello and welcome to another update video about Tezos. I was asked to provide one because Tezos is looking a bit difficult at the moment. It obviously dropped below that ascending trend line here. So people are getting a bit worried, and I can understand that because as I said, we came back to this ascending trend line. Other cryptos have broken to the upside from here. Tezos hasn't done that, at least not yet. So what is Tezos actually doing? Tezos had formed something like a head and shoulders here. Now that head and shoulders, you could say it did break to the downside actually. We didn't quite hit the target level, but yeah, we came down quite significantly from the neckline of that head and shoulders, which was probably round about here. So we came down actually 5.3%. And however, luckily we found support at this horizontal at the previous low. Okay. And most importantly as well, it looks like we found our way back above the 50-day moving average, and the 50-day moving average is currently sitting at pretty much 660, 659. So that is where we are currently finding support. Now that level needs to hold. If that drops again, if we can't secure a higher high here, and if that is a successful retest of that resistance level and we can't climb higher, make another higher low, or even get above that ascending trend line, I think we can drop again to that 635 support level. And even if we lose that, I think where could we get to? We could get to that. There's a bit of a lower support line here that we touched previously. So that is what we can see with Tezos, where we didn't see with other cryptos. That trend line, even though I think it's a valid one, it's a bit of a messy one because in two occasions we broke below it, yeah, for a very short period. So it could be that we hit that support line here that will be at $6. Okay, that is one possible scenario. If we drop below that, I think it would be really quite bearish. Then we could drop all the way down to the 200-day moving average, which is that previous. No, I think we would drop to here, this level, which is the previous low here, which is at around probably like the 550 level. That's a nice and round number. And if we drop below that, I think then we can drop to the 200-day moving average at around 477. Yeah, I mean, we had quite a sharp move up from here actually. Green candles getting bigger and bigger again, which was good. I think possibly Bitcoin is going down right at this moment, which is why we have that red candle as well. But it was on a good way already to break back above that level. We need to see that for a further continuation of the upside, right? If we can't hold that level, if we drop back down, I think it will be a little bit of a longer retracement, and I told you just the support levels there. Now let me take a look here on the weekly, just to look at the longer term trend. And the longer term trend, to be honest, what we need to see here is that while we are here in the bullish range on the RSI and we have scope to the upside on the RSI, the MACD is losing a bit of steam. The MACD is losing a bit of steam, and we don't want a bearish crossover here. Yeah, so what we need to see here is something like back here where we gain steam again. So watch that MACD on the weekly, because if it loses steam further, and if we can't really get back above that ascending trend line, we could get basically a bearish crossover on the MACD. And the last time that happened on the weekly, let me just make that, that was basically here. So you can see here, we already started here with a price drop, yeah. So the MACD actually to some degree predicted that, and then we had a massive price drop here. And yeah, that wiped out a lot. I mean, that was back in May, you know, that was when everything came down. But we need to make sure, you know, we need to watch that weekly, because that is sort of the longer term thing here, the longer term trend that we need to observe. So on the daily, let's take a look on the daily. On the daily, we've actually just crossed the zero line to the downside. But what is good here on the MACD, that it seems to be, the selling pressure seems to lose steam. Yeah, so you can see these lighter red colors, tones on the MACD histogram, not very strongly to the upside, but it's, you know, it's losing steam to the downside. But it needs a little bit more of a signal here. I can't really see a trend reversal on the MACD. It's good that the MACD is coming down because it was quite high. So that gives us more scope to move to the upside again, but we need to get into the green territory here. So that's not there yet. So indicates longer term consolidation for me, or at least not a very short term move to the upside now. At least that's just one indicator. And also on the RSI, we dropped below the 50 line. So here we need to get above 50. That would be a potential buy signal. And I would need to see a further reduction of the selling pressure here on the MACD, on the daily. Also, we need to hold the 50-day moving average. So we're pretty much at a tipping point now. And ideally, you want to get above that ascending trend line. Now, if we get just that possible scenario, if we get above that ascending trend line, then we've got a few levels that we need to cross, our important sort of breakout points and levels that we need to make sure we get beyond in order to continue our way to the upside as well. And the first significant one I would say here is pretty much 680. These are these two shoulders here of that head and shoulders. Then there are a few, you know, there's nearly 690 then, and up here I would say this is the $7 one. So you certainly want to get above $7. From here you could see a next breakout to 730, and then probably, don't know why I had that on the chart, it's probably on a different time frame. Then I've got 763 on here, and these are pretty much the next levels we need to get to. What is good that we have on the shorter term time frame actually a buy signal on the MACD, where on the on the daily we saw the selling pressure decreasing, and on the 4 hour we already see a buying signal. So it indicates that if that is continuing to the upside now, that you will see that coming into the daily time frame as well at some point, maybe at the peak here of that green histogram then, and that could really indicate that we might hopefully get above that trend line again. See a bit of a positive momentum now emerging, and that's pretty much it. We need to wait what the price is doing now. I told you the key levels that I think we need to hold, and then we need to make sure we get above in order to continue our uptrend. At the moment the price doesn't really tell us a lot. We need to see what the price is doing next, because we're at a tipping point, and I would now wait for a decision what the market is doing before I decide what to do, you know. So yeah, and you know, the 50-day moving average is very close anyway, and that ascending trend line is very close as well. So we want to climb above that ascending trend line, want to hold the support of the 50-day moving average. If we drop below the 50-day moving average and drop below that low, yes, we will go down further. All right, that's pretty much the update on Tezos. One of the few that performed a bit poorly over the last few days, but yeah, it has long-term potential, but unfortunately it has dropped below that ascending trend line, which led to a bit of a shorter term weakness here. All right, so hopefully you liked that video. If you did, please smash the like button, and if you want to subscribe, please do so, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.